up? Got a Twosun. Maybe it should be got a Twosun. I don't know, man. It spun pretty good though. It's kind of girthy. Okay, well I've been waiting for this one. Kind of excited for it. It is like it's the weirdest thing. It's like a entry level, upper level piece. I don't know the number. Let's get rid of all this stuff here. Pardon me. So I think it's got 14C 28N steel. And then it's got this Damascus. And so they put the nicest stuff as an insert on a knife with mid-grade steel. All right, let's get that blade out. Well, I'm wrong. It's M390. So it's a upper class knife with upper class materials. How about that? Oh, is that a beautiful M390? David Chin design. I mean, David's been bringing the heat. And, I mean, first impressions on this one? Man. Wow. You know, Twosun's, man, it's just one of those, like, that's a back flipper only. Beautiful satin blade. It's a ts511. And then it's got the Damascus in there. Wonderful pocket clip, tension on it, frame lock. With such a heavy blade, I feel like it should run better than it's running. It feels like it's running kind of restricted. Now, is that too much tension on the pivot? Is there a lot of tension here? We'll find out. Is this too tight? I mean, I can check that right now. I mean, it's pretty tight. Yeah. Maybe just a little over tight on the pivot. I mean, it's a simple knife from the perspective that it's only got, the back flipper. But already, I mean, I can't wait to dive into this knife a little more specifically because it is checking some boxes, faux show. Yep. I mean, David Chin, what a beautiful knife, my man. Fine milling in the pocket clip on the scales. You can feel it in there. Of course, the Damascus is just smooth, polished. Whew, it's pretty. And man, has this thing been bringing the cheese. Bringing the cheese. Which, I get it. I mean, just looking at that, right there, there's the profile. That'll be the pick. Yeah. It's legit. It's funny because, man, there's still a lot of people that see Twosun and they just have no idea. So many on the channel, reach me on the backside of the channel. And I move some Twosuns, okay? Without a doubt, I move Twosuns. I've never not said that I don't. A lot of what you see come into the channel here goes into the collection. But I do have some Twosuns that I move around. And so people, on the backside, I get to talking to people that have reached out to me on the channel. And we horse trade or whatever we do, but they end up with their first Twosun in their hand. And across the board, the reaction is always, yeah, I didn't realize how fine of a piece those were. I was always skeptical. That I hear that a lot. I was just skeptical. I thought like, and it's because there's Twosun bashers out there. There are people that'll just come in and go, right away somebody's going to go, well, but that M390's trash. That's been refuted, man. Could they make it harder? Hey, you know what? I just hope that the guys that say that go to the American companies that use M390 and their stuff. Some of their stuff isn't as hard as the Twosun stuff. I mean, me personally, I don't get down in those weeds. I don't really care. And let me tell you why. Here's the main reason why. Would you right now watching this knife's been going for $250 plus. Would you spend $200 on this knife and then expect it to cut through a log? To cut 600 feet of twine? I mean, if you can do that, I don't know, post up your bank statement. Show us how you're living large like that, and you drop $200 on a beater knife that you're just gonna, let me chop up 600 feet of hemp with it. I'm pretty sure that I'm like most common folk that are looking at this piece, in that if I do get fortunate enough to get this into my collection, this ain't getting beat up. This ain't gonna cut 10 feet of twine, let alone 100 feet. You know what I mean? And so the fact that, this M390 may be a 59 instead of a suggested 62, it's inconsequential to me. Now, maybe it's the most important thing in the world to you. I get it. It's just not me, and you're not going to get, you're not going to find that on this channel, because I'm just not coming from that space. Man, let's get in this thing. 59 or 62. I mean, and this ain't the first time I've stated this. It just that if my knife gets dull because it's a 59 and yours is a 62, and you can cut an extra 250 cuts on hemp, while you're cutting that extra 250, I've stropped my knife up and made it like a razor again and got back in a race. I mean, I know how to sharpen a knife. If I'm dressing out an elk, I've got one of these right next to me, and I'm sharpening my piece as I'm going, as I'm caping, cleaning meat off bone, whatever. And most guys that I know that use a knife heavy like that, you have the ability to touch their knife up. I'm pulling this pocket clip because I believe this thing's got oil underneath these inserts, these scales. And so I kind of want to be careful with it. I most definitely don't want to scratch that up. I mean, I'm going to say that this may be the showpiece of my Twosun collection with that Damascus on there. I've got some nice ones, but normally I tap them and they pop out. I think this one's coming. I don't want it to land on a screw though. Yeah, I mean, it's coming. What happens is it gets oil under there, and then that creates suction, and so it doesn't want to come up. I got to create a better angle. Whoop, I just pushed that back down. Because, I'm trying to tap it here, and I think I'm tapping the Damascus at the same time. Looks like if I tap on this corner, that's my best bet right there. I mean, well, let's get this out of here. And let's continue to take the knife apart. Everything's kind of standard in here. Does have a massive stop pin in it though, so that's nice. All of this feels pretty locked down. I'm going to pull this screw, try to release that scale. So it's a tube spacer, tube nut spacer. I think I'm going to have to get some help to push it out though. Here we go. And yeah, I'm being kind of delicate. I mean, I'm not going to wear white gloves or anything, but yeah, the tension between the two holes, the milling is pretty precise. So now I got to get this pivot out, and it feels kind of locked in there. Yeah, it's definitely locked in there. The Damascus is separating, but that pivot is being stubborn, man. Woo! All right. Well, I think I'm going to tippy tap on it with a piece of brass. This right here. But I'm going to put a rag over it also. See if we gained any. Oh, we did. So we're gaining. I think it's locked into the titanium. Yeah. So I'm going to push that back down on there, and I'm going to try to hold the titanium in and free it. There it goes. Yep. Now this titanium should pop out the way it was acting. Yeah, look at it. It's wanting to come. I mean, I've created space underneath there. I'm going to get something fine to pry underneath there. Okay. Got one of my phone tools. I think this one will work good. Created just enough space that I think, yeah, see, I can get under it. Feel like I'm fixing an iPhone. I mean, it has been milled to fit very exacting in there. I am going to get this under it and press down. See if I can't get the other side to cooperate a little bit. Look at how far we're out of there, but this back's not wanting to come. I don't want to bend it. I don't think it'll bend, but I'm not the world's foremost expert on Damascus either. For all I know, the stuff is brittle. Yeah. Ooh, is it tight in there? But it's coming. Look at that. And now can I manipulate it? There it goes. So these little pieces, that's not from this, it's from my little tool. All right, so that's out, and yeah, it's completely full of oil in there. We gotta get this one now. I mean, it really is like pulling off a cell phone screen. I think I can manipulate it now. Let me get my tool out of there. Whew. They milled this super fine, man. If it wasn't for the oil, I would not be taking this off. But that oil dictates that I must do what I must do. Otherwise, every time I squeeze this knife, just so you know, if you're watching, like, bro, why would you? Because that oil behind there, every time I squeeze the knife, that oil is going to weep out around that edge, and this knife's always going to be oily. And I'm not down. I don't like it. When all I got to do is take it apart and oil it, or not oil it, clean it up, and then put minimal oil on the bearings on something like this because of the fight to get this out of here. It's going to get just the tiniest little bit of oil on these bearings. Definitely less than I normally would. And that's completely flat, like it didn't bend it at all. It's titanium. Yeah, and so there's plenty of oil up underneath here, and I'm gonna get all of that out of there. Yep. And then just like I said, minimal oil to reassemble. I'm not gonna put what I would normally put on a knife, just because that oil. You put oil anywhere on the knife, and somehow you tell me, man, it'll end up underneath that scale. It's the weirdest thing ever. I've had it happen way too many times. Clean up a knife, get all of the oil completely off of it, and then just oil the bearing slightly. And for whatever reason, I take the knife apart, and there's oil back here. It's like, well, how did that get there? Which, the main thing that happened when that happened was it kind of released definitely Twosun kind of released them in my mind a little bit, because I've had it happen to me. I didn't put any oil back here, or underneath the pocket clip. And sure enough, I disassemble the knife after I've cleaned it. And then it's got oil under the scales. It's like, well, how does that migrate? But it does. Now, I have thought maybe I should ultrasonic every knife, because what if it's in this hole? You know what I mean? Um, I'm not going that far with it. I mean, I was making this huge passionate sermon on a box in the middle of town square about it, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing all that. uh, my hand will get oily when I pick the knife up. Oh, so stupid, man. But I crack myself up. I mean, not because I tell good jokes, just because I'm such an idiot. And then like I'm an idiot, but then I see the stupidity in it. I'm like, man, I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid. Hmm. I am a great example of it, of stupidity and nonsense. There's a freedom in being a fool, man. You know what I mean? Fool might not be the right word. Um, I am not easily duped. How about foolish? Yeah. There's a freedom in being foolish, man. I don't have to take it serious if I don't want to. Man, I like this thing a lot. It'd be nice to get through some safety checks and have everything line up, you know what I mean? Because, oh, do I like it. I mean, I like it so much that even if we've got safety check issues, I don't think I'm going to like this knife any less. I don't know. You just come to expect it, And so it's hard to be disappointed when there's a 50-50 chance. Right? I don't know. It's like having a boyfriend or a girlfriend that's a cheater. They're a cheater. And like when they cheat, like what? You're surprised, you're disappointed. It's like, bro, like you knew it when she cheated with you. like where's the surprise in all that? Like you thought you were different? Nah, man. It happens. Look at this beautiful chunk of Damascus here. I mean, gorgeous. The golds, the blues, the purples. Mm-hmm. Yeah, wonderful. Let's get this last piece and we'll put this thing together. Might work on these scales first. Let's get these back in place because they were a booger to get out. I have no idea what we're facing to put them back in. See which one's which. Well, that ain't that. It's got to be this one. Yep. I'm going to try to get it on there square. Look at that. Mm-hmm. If it was any easier, you know what I mean? Pretty sure the short tube and then the long tube and then the backspacer. Get the pivot in. Stop pin. I mean, it's going together way easier than it came apart. I mean, way easier. Yeah. All right. Minimal. Come on, just a tiny one drop. Yeah. And then, oh, that feels good. One more tiny little drop. Boop. And then just a hair on that detent ball. That's all the oil I want in there. Let's put this together. Hopefully this side's as good as the other. There we go. Oh, man, is that beautiful. It definitely adds weight to the knife. When I put that in with that, I mean, yeah, this knife is not slim pickings. This thing's got some girth, man. Yep, just want to make sure I'm on track here. Something tells me I got to suck all that together and then back that out, and that's maybe why the action was kind of rough to begin with, because they just ran it in. I might be a little too tight yet, but I'm not going to mess with it until I finish putting it all together. I got to get some balance in the back here. Wow. Wowzy, wowzy, wow. Yeah, what a nice piece, man. I mean, I'm trying to think, but I don't think that I have a nicer Twosun. Now, if you have one, comment below. You let me know which one it is that you think is nicer than this. Because A, I want to see if I have it, and then B, if I don't, I want to find it. I'll buy yours for 50%. Yeah, let me know if you have one that you think is nicer than this dude right here. I'm going to try to take some off of this. Yeah, no, I had it right. All right. Tools up. Tools down. Time's up. I'm going to answer the question, though, if I think it's worth 250 bucks. There she is. Come on, man. Golly. Gorgeous, right? Great job. David Chin. Come on, man. I'm going to pop this up on Instagram for you, brother. This thing, I think I seen it up there already. Somebody had it, but it might have been you, man. But wow. Wow, man. What a nice piece. And, I mean, let's get through this, and then I'll say definitively if I think it's the nicest Twosun that I own. The action, I mean, you know, I have to grade it on what it is. It's got excellent jimping right here. I mean, it's sharp. It's higher than the center of the pivot by quite a bit, so snappy. Yep. And then access to the lock bar. This is lowered just slightly. Nice scallop here. Plenty of room to get in there. And the tension on the lock bar is such that, I mean, I could function this knife over and over for hours on end, and I'm not going to find discomfort. Yep. Very intuitive, wonderful. So, I mean, I'm going to give it, I've said this before. Sometimes, like, the action is a totalitarian assessment. Like, the action on a $15 knife, just because maybe the fit and finish isn't great, even though it's wonderful and falls shut, in total, it may not grade as high as just that part of the knife. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even know why I'm so specifically explaining this. Only I know why. Because there's some of us that these things matter, like down to the what did you use to evaluate that? you know, if it had 20 criteria and each could score 5 points, you know what I mean? So I get it. So that's why I'm explaining it. But it is subjective to the totalitarian of the piece as well. Because let's say A level, you know, B level action on a C level knife is probably not going to rate as high as B level action on an A level knife. Makes sense? Like that, it comes into play. And so you know, all in all, I mean, it's not gritty. It's very hydraulic, very smooth. I'm gonna rate it an A to an A minus. You know, I really don't have any reason to go to an A minus. It's stunning. It's wonderful. Everything works excellent. And in combination with the knife overall, ergonomics. So not so confident, confident, very confident. I mean, this thing just goes whoop and rises up towards very confident because of the contours on the scales and then the finger guard. I mean, just very locked in. And then combat jimping. Come on, David. I mean, I hope you designed that, bro, because this jimping is wonderful. I love it. I mean, if you're going to jimp. There is a choke up opportunity for those that like to and then really go here. Um, yeah, the ergonomics are. The pocket clip disappears. Its form and function puts it right in the hand where it belongs. I don't even really notice it. This grip right here, very powerful grip, locked in the hand from going forward and sliding up over the blade, and then great platform for the thumb. 2 fingers, 3 fingers almost can lock in on the pocket clip, creating even a stronger grip. Yeah, wonderful. I can get here, but not so much. Yeah. So much so, not so much, that I'm not even really going to talk about it. Let's check the pocket clip. Yeah, all the way home. I mean, this is a F5 tension in the thicker stuff. I mean, tornado could tear these pants off me, take them 20 miles down range and shred them up. And when you found this piece of material right here, this knife would still be attached to it. I mean, yeah, it's, whoo, I need help to get it out of there. Wonderful. But you know, up against this smooth as glass Damascus, it's going to need great tension, and it does. Even here in standard jean size material, it's got great tension, excellent grip. My spot in the back pocket where I would carry this, if I was to carry this knife, that's right where I would carry it. Beautiful look. I mean, it's got a high end look. This milling on the clip is visible, and you know, you can see the Damascus in there. It's no joke, man. Yep, nice tension. Wouldn't come flying out of my pocket if I had to take off running or whatever. Got to get away. All right, here we go. Safety. Can I get blade contact? Yep, right there. Yeah, that piece of the blade sticking up right there. As soon as I put my finger down, I'm on it to about right here. So this much blade contact right there. What about the tip? Oh, that tip looks ominous. Yeah, the tip's far enough back there that I can't contact the tip. Clip's good, tip's good, but I do have blade contact through the back, so I wouldn't recommend just fumbling this knife around because there is a sharp blade exposed right there. I say sharp, but let's find out. Is it really sharp? Big, tall, flat grind. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Yep. Did a great job of sharpening that. So all the more reason I don't want to be contacting the back of that. Now, could I profile the knife and take that out of it? I could, but on this piece I'm not bothering with this knife. I'm gonna leave it as is, and so listen, overall opinion before I do price and let's do price and availability. Yeah, so the spot right now is eBay. So there's a fixed auction on eBay for this piece through Sixleaf LI, the Sixleaf dash LI seller, and he's got it listed for $259 or best offer. Could you get it for 220, 230? I don't know. It's pretty hot ticket because the live auctions through DWin have been bringing that high end money. They've been bringing 250, 260 for this piece. So the question begs, I'm going to answer it this way. Do I think it's a $200 plus piece? So I have to address the safety thing. Like, it is disappointing that we can't construct a knife that doesn't allow contact with the sharp part. Now, I mean, that tip has to come all the way out here before I stop making contact. So, like, that's no easy fix. That's going to have to be done in production, and my guess is with the grind. Now, it's got a fair choil here, and so to take a millimeter off just the bottom of this edge and then blend that back probably wouldn't be that hard. But out of the box, $200 knife, and it's got blade contact. So, for me, I can probably mentally get past it because I own a bunch of these that have blade contact. For some reason, my friends at Twosun just haven't made that a priority in design and manufacturing and said, "Oh, hold on, that we can't have that," or this, a tip. When the knife's closed, we should not be able to touch a sharp part. It's that simple. It'd be like owning a gun, any gun that you could fire when the safety's on. I mean, that's what I liken it to. It's not good. So I think the way that I'm going to have to answer this is if I discount the blade contact, I think that the knife is absolutely worth that. It is built solid like a tank, wonderful materials, excellent design, ergonomics. It's a great piece, and it's deserving of this excellent Damascus in here. It lives up to this. It really does what you see here. But that's discounting this blade contact. Now, if you're like me, it wouldn't stop me. Like if I watched this video, it would not stop me from picking this piece up and adding it to my collection or even carrying it around. Like I know, hey, listen, I know there's a lot of us that will take a piece like this and throw it right in their pocket. Yeah. Let's wrap it up. It's a ts511 and an M390 David Chin design. Titanium, satin finish on the blade, and then it's got this beautiful Damascus in there. Appreciate y'all watching.